Hi, welcome again to the Dollhouse. It's been a crazy few days here. We're finally getting back to normal. Friday we had a big snowstorm hit and we were caught totally flat-footed by it, which is silly because that's all that's been talked about for a week was this incoming snowstorm. But what's been the pattern over the last couple years is you hear about these big storms and they never materialize. So I guess we just didn't take it as seriously as we should have. And the first indication I had that we were in trouble was I sent the kids out to play. School was canceled. I sent the kids out to play and noticed that we still had camping chairs out on the deck. Of course, they were covered in snow, frozen solid, so I got to track these frozen snow-covered chairs through my house and down into the basement so they could thaw out. I was working on a batch of soap at the time, so I just, whatever, didn't think much of it. But it was snowing pretty heavy. It was, and it kept building throughout the day. So I decided to go out and shovel, just a little path out to the road to kind of get a jump on it so we weren't like completely buried once the storm stopped. I went outside and started chipping away at it. And there were cars getting stuck everywhere. Like 4, 5, 6 cars just that I could see from my front step. And I realized that our truck was still on the road. And we have calendar parking. And that night it would have been on the wrong side. And I didn't think that I would get a ticket just given it's a snowstorm, people get stuck. But I was more worried about it getting crashed into, either from someone losing control of their vehicle or the plow hitting it. You know, I was just, and I could have moved it in the morning. You know, the snow didn't start until, I don't know, 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. I could have moved the truck when there were just a couple inches, but no, I waited until there was 7, 10 inches of snow. And Darren was at work and then heading straight to deer camp. So it was just me and the kids, and I started thinking, oh my gosh, who's gonna watch the kids if I have to try and get this truck out of the snow? And I was like, oh man, who can come and help me? And I saw a truck go by which looked a lot like some friends of ours from church. Looked like their truck. It wasn't him, but it looked like him. So I texted my friend and I'm like, if I get stuck trying to move my vehicle, can your husband come dig me out? And she says, oh, he just left for deer camp, but I'll see what my brother's doing. If you need help, let me know. So I said, well, okay, well, I'm going for it. I don't want to wait until the situation is worse. So right away, I put it in 4-wheel drive, low range, managed to crawl the thing around the block, down the alley, and bury it in the driveway behind the garage. And just decided, okay, we're snowed in until Sunday. We're not going anywhere. We're not doing anything except we're staying home. Darren can come dig it out when he's done. So I did that. And I was feeling pretty good about everything until I was checking Facebook and people are saying, oh, my power's out, my power's out. And then I realized if the power goes out here, we're not ready. So I started running through my head, okay, what can I do to get ready for the power to go out? And the lights went out. Power out. Oh my gosh. We have flashlights, but it's pitch black. I can't find them. Fortunately, the lights came back on. So I'm like, okay, I'm getting ready to go right now. I had some bread dough in the refrigerator I was going to bake in the morning. I'm like, baking that now. Of course, we were out of cold cereal. I've been giving the kids oatmeal. So I'm like, okay, overnight oats in the fridge right now. If you've never made overnight oats before, there's a million different ways to do it. The most basic is equal parts water and oats. Add whatever else you want in there. Put it in the fridge overnight and it's ready to go in the morning. If I'm making it for me, a mashed banana, a cup of water, a cup of oats, mix it all together, add some cinnamon. That's 2 servings. And if you're following containers, each one of those servings is a purple and a yellow. So that's just overnight oats, quick tutorial there. And of course Darren calls me in the middle of this. I had my phone on the charger because the phone needs to be charged if we lose power. His ever since we started dating, his timing has been terrible. So he calls me while I'm frantically trying to get the house ready. And he wants to be all chatty. And I'm like, hon, I have stuff to do. I will call you later. So I hung up with him. And I hung blankets over our worst windows. We have old house, old windows, and it lets a lot of cold in. So I hung blankets over the windows and over the basement door. And I turned the thermostat up. I plugged in some space heaters upstairs, figuring get the house nice and warm. So if we do lose power, it takes a while for it to cool off. So I was running through my checklist. I think, pretty sure I had everything done. But then I realized, what if I need to cook something? Like, we have an electric stove. I can't cook anything. So okay, I'll call Darren and see where the camp stove is. Well, it's in the storage unit. Nice. I said, well, what, do we have an aluminum can? I know how to make an alcohol burning stove with an aluminum can. I'm like, do we just have a can? No, I just took the recycling out. And we don't drink pop anyway. I'm like, well, you used to have a couple buds in the garage. Like, is there still a beer out there? I can make one with that. No, we took those on our last camping trip. So here's a blizzard. I don't even have a stinking aluminum can. And the gas station is 2 blocks from our house. The grocery store is 2 blocks from our house. The truck is buried in the driveway. So I'm not going to walk down there with the kids. Driving is out of the question. So I started running through my mind, like, what if I just quick ran? What if I put the kids to bed and just quick ran? But I can't. They're too little. I cannot responsibly leave them home alone. Even if it's like to make an emergency stove, I just can't do that. And can you imagine the headlines? Mother of 4 abandons her small children to go get herself a Coca-Cola in a blizzard. Like, no, it's just not an option. So I was, just gonna let that go. We had enough food. We could have eaten, but I was thinking like coffee in the morning. So I was thinking about it, and I'm like, I couldn't use a tin can. I had no way to cut a tin can, but I was like, I have tuna. The tuna can is small. That will work. No, it will not. I got very close to getting it to work. And I thought, well, maybe if I just enlarge these holes a little bit, I can make this stove work. Well, what happened is I enlarged the holes too much. Flames got into the stove, blew it apart, and then I had flaming alcohol all over my stovetop. And of course, the kids hear the sound of the minor explosion, hear me react to the minor explosion, and come running into the kitchen, and they're standing there looking at the flames. And, oh my gosh. So I had to chase them out of the kitchen. I put the fire out with some baking soda. Fortunately, I had a brand new carton, and then just gave up on the stove idea. Yeah, hon, yes. So that was Friday night. I also did, yes, I said all the dishes. I didn't want to have to deal with dirty dishes and no hot water in the morning. A lot of times I'll save my dishes for the morning, but I got them all done Friday night. So Saturday I get up and we're just gonna enjoy this snowy day. I made a pie, pineapple pie. Never had one of those before, and it turned out super good. Ainsley says it's hers. I told her she could have a piece. We haven't gotten that far yet. But we bought a pineapple at the grocery store. Ainsley wanted this pineapple, and it went from too green to eat to almost overripe overnight. So I looked up a pie recipe because I thought that would be a good way to use it up. I'll put the recipe in the blog, but it's really good. And my pie pans are very big. It says they're 9 inches. No, it's bigger than a standard 9-inch pan, and a whole pineapple would have fit. I followed the directions, which called for a 20-ounce can of crushed pineapple. So I measured out the rough equivalent, but a whole pineapple would have worked. And next time I will do that. So I made the pie and went out to shovel. Oliver and I spent a lot of time shoveling, digging out I did a couple, like a path out the front door to the road, a path out the side door to the road. Oliver actually did that path, and then the sidewalk on the corner connecting those two paths is what I did out. I did out to the road on the corner too. We're on a corner lot. So we come in and getting ready to make supper, and the night before I had made a roast, so I had leftover roast, the vegetables from the roast, and so I made cabbage rolls with that. I had some leftover rice in the refrigerator too, so I'm boiling the cabbage to get the leaves off, and it was a purple cabbage, and the water was just turning darker and darker and darker, and I thought, oh, it would be so nice if I could dye, if I had something to dye with this. I don't want to waste this great color. And then I remembered I have a whole bag full of white fleece that I was given this fall. And I thought, but it hadn't been washed yet. And the smart me would have waited for the kids to go to bed and then do this. But in my mind, I'm like, the dye bath is ready, the water's hot, let's go, let's go, let's go. So I started washing wool while I'm getting everybody ready for supper. I still hadn't put the dishes away from the night before because I've been outside shoveling. So it is getting a little chaotic. And yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. I was not thinking. Couldn't put the dishes away because my dirty wool hands. But whatever, I got it done. I got it done. Got kids to bed, whatever. And Sunday rolls around, and it was better. Sunday things finally started calming down. We did our church routine. Darren came home, and things are finally starting to feel a little less chaotic, but a little planning ahead of time would have gone a long, long way. But here, I got a weird thing on my phone here. There we go. This is the wool I dyed though with a cabbage. I wish I would have waited before I washed it to see how much loss there was, but there is about 4.4 ounces in here. So enough for socks, and you can't really, let's see if I can get a white. Ainsley drew this for me, I'm in it. This is a rain cloud, I'm over here by the wool. But you can see the wool's kind of a bluish color, kind of like really faded denim. And I dried this on those camp chairs that were thawing out in my basement, so it all worked out in the end, but there's enough for a pair of socks in here. And I had planned to just pick the choicest parts of this fleece, just the nice locks, you know, make for nice, easy processing. Well, Ainsley decided to help me, and she just started chucking handfuls in there. And I don't know what the sheep eats, but whatever was in its poop, because a little bit of poop got in there, dyed really brilliant blue spots. So, side note, so there's some really bright blue spots. And then I spun up a little sample. Let's see if I can, there. Just to see if I could get the color to show up a little better. When you look at like a raw fleece, you don't always see the color well because the light deflects so much. The actual spun yarn looks different because it's a smoother surface, and the color, the light is not broken up as much. I also finished, this is the yarn I was spinning last week on my antique wheel. I got it all plied up, and this is, I don't know, a worsted weight yarn. I got 2 skeins. Oh, what was the yardage? About 200 yards here, and I think I had roughly 5 ounces of fiber, and one of these is a true 3-ply, and one of these is a chain ply. And the true 3-ply is a little more consistent, but the difference isn't horrible. What happens with the chain ply is these yarns look the same, you know, side by side, but the color transitions of a chain ply yarn work a little differently. So I don't know what I'm gonna do project wise. Let's see if I can find because they will look different knitted up. A chain ply, the transitions can get a little abrupt, whereas the true 3-ply, it changes more gradually. So I either have to find a project that accounts for that. Of course, I can't tell these apart now. I was going to show you the difference, and I can't find it. So I'm going to have to choose a project that takes that into consideration, or make 2 separate projects. I have no idea. Oh, here we go. Here's an example. This is the chain ply skein. See, it switches right away from mostly pink to mostly green. And it is what it is. I could have been, again, planning. I could have been more careful on how I divided the yarn before I spun it. I wasn't. And that's the way it goes. And I'm okay with that. I got a few more dishcloths made. 4 more to be exact. I was getting kind of bored with the colors I had, so I went and bought more cotton. Purple. I really like that purple one. And then this yarn, oh, this cotton, I love it. It's just kind of like a beigey cream, and it has little flecks. And I got this one, I got a huge cone of this one, actually, because I thought it would be perfect for using up scraps of my plain colors, because it goes with everything. I love it. So gonna be a lot of these in my future. I tried working on my giant knitting project, and I had to quit for a while because I don't know. The pattern is not complicated, but for some reason I must have been distracted. We were watching The Ranch on Netflix, and it's not a terribly intellectual show. I don't know why I couldn't do both at the same time, but I couldn't. It's a square project, and I had to rip back every single side. I would get to the end of one side, rip it back, reknit it. Get to the end of the other side, rip it back, reknit it. And I needed a break. We're enjoying a separation right now. So that's where that is. I mentioned I made a batch of soap on Friday. This one's a milk soap, and it kind of got away from me. There are 3 methods that I've seen for making milk soap. What can happen is the milk can get scorched. So there are 3 ways to kind of avoid that. And now I have tried all 3. One is if you're using like just straight up milk, not like a powdered concentrate, but milk, is you freeze it and you put the lye on the frozen milk, and that keeps, because the lye heats up, the chemical reaction between the liquid and the lye, it gets really hot. So the frozen milk keeps that from burning. And I did that with my breast milk soap, and it worked really well. Another method is you take powdered milk. I have powdered goat's milk, and you make like a really concentrated, almost paste, and freeze it. And you add that when the soap gets to trace, which is near the end, just before you pour it into the mold. And I've tried that, and it worked. And I read another recipe that just had you add, do the concentrate again, and just add it at the end, just because by then the lye has started to calm down a little bit. It doesn't get as hot. And soap, when it's curing, when you first pour it, it goes through what's called a gel phase. Yes, the lye it kind of gets melty. It stays pretty warm. And so you can put your milk soap in the refrigerator to prevent that the first couple days, so it doesn't get so hot. And I did that with my breast milk soap, and it worked really well. This one, I just poured the concentrated soap milk in at trace, and there's honey in this soap too. What did I use? goat's milk and honey is what's in here. And it's scorched. And the soap came to trace really fast. Really fast. I was not ready for it. So I think that was part of the problem. Because a lot of times when you have to mix it and mix it and mix it and mix it, and it cools off a lot while you're doing that. But this soap came to trace within minutes. So I poured the milk in, poured the honey in. Oh no. And yeah, you can see there are dark flecks in here. And I think that's burned honey, actually. I don't know. I'll give this soap a couple weeks and try it out and see. When I cut the bars, I used a couple scraps and it lathered fine. I think it'll be okay. It smells really nice. Like the scorched honey kind of gives it like a brown sugar caramely smell. So I hope it's okay. So far it's not my favorite recipe. Actually, my favorite soap that I have made has been a 100% lye soap. I put sage and coffee grounds in it, and it makes a nice hard bar of soap. It lasts forever. It still lathers okay, and I didn't like that one when I first made it either, but it's grown on me. So I think I have in my mind another soap recipe I want to try, and I'm gonna go back. She's watching Octonauts. It's very exciting. I'm gonna go back to maybe doing a lot of lard in there, because my lard soap is actually really good for taking stains out of clothes too. My iron kind of puked up some rust water on fabric, and that soap took it right out. So hopefully before Christmas I will get one more batch of soap made, and I will let you know how that goes. I have one more craft to show you, and that's the shirt I'm wearing here. Everybody I know is having LuLaRoe parties. I don't know if you can see the bottom hem or not. There we go. I made it long, so if I wear leggings, which is unlikely, but if I do, everything's not showing. But like I said, everybody I know is having LuLaRoe parties, and I haven't started my Christmas shopping yet, and I can't. Do you know Christmas shopping? Eventually. I can't bring myself to spend the money right now, and I have a huge bin of fabric that I have a huge bin of fabric, and every time I go to want to buy something, I look at that fabric and think, no, you can make your own. So yeah, this is my didn't buy any LuLaRoe therapy shirt, and it was really easy. I just found a blog that showed you how to trace a shirt you already have. So I picked a looser fitting t-shirt and traced that. The one problem I did run into is my t-shirt was short sleeve. So I kind of had to wing the sleeves, and they are super, super tight. Even in another fabric, I think it would have been okay, but this is not the stretchiest stretch. Up here, the arm is fine, but I really, yeah, didn't gauge that right. And even when I was drawing it, I was thinking I should measure my arm in more than one place. Again, planning, poor planning. But I fixed my pattern pieces and put them away, so I will definitely be making more of these. I'm gonna adjust how I sewed this on as well. It wants to roll a little bit. So I'm gonna do the neck slightly different, but yeah, otherwise I really like it. Like I say, I'm gonna be doing more of these. And it was a free shirt. You know, this fabric was left over from the dress I made, and this fabric was given to me. It's in part of my giant bin that fills me with guilt every time I look at it. So, free shirt, pretty awesome. And last week I mentioned that it was a low-key yoga type week because everybody was sick, including me. I'm finally feeling better. Thank heavens. So I started a new workout regimen, and it's actually one that I devised. And what it does is Beachbody has a show on their on-demand called The 20s, and it was a reality show used to pick a new trainer. And the workouts are only, it has workouts that accompany it, and they're only 20 minutes long. So I made a 30-day calendar using all of those 20-minute workouts. And I'd done a couple of them before. Some of them I just had to go by the description, and I tried to stagger it so you're doing something a little different each day. And I'm excited to try that out. And if you want to try it as well, it's only 20 minutes a day. Get in touch with me, and I will get you set up. So, all right, I will see you next week.